Every day, we encounter heroes. Not the type you would expect with a cape and superpowers, but everyday people whose ability to transcend terrible or challenging circumstances leave everyone around them inspired, transformed, and touched forever by the courage they display every day. When you meet these people, you ask yourself, how do they do it? They're the type of people that don't understand the concept of selfishness. Rather, their thoughts are focused on those around them, putting others before themselves. Tonight's honoree is the epitome of that type of person. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor Mr. Rick Flynn with the 2014 YMCA Salute to Courage Award.
We got the double whammy in 2009. We just went through the worst year in the car business in 2008. It was still continuing then. And then in August of 2008, I break my ankle. I'm on a walker for a month or so, and my back kept hurting. And then I get diagnosed in October, with an 8-inch tumor in my spine. So it was a little bit of a challenge, to say the least.
The tumor on Rick's spine extended from the C3 vertebrae to the T5 vertebrae. Without the surgery, doctors gave Rick only a few years to live.
When this all happened, it was just surreal. You didn't expect someone like him to have such a setback. It was shocking.
To tell you the truth, I was scared. I was scared to death. I didn't know what was going to happen. They said, there'd be probably a 75–80% chance of some deficit, 50% chance of me being paralyzed.
Of course, I can remember back when he was faced with the difficult decision of having the operation, and he called me up and he told me about it, and he said, Kevin, one thing I'm going to tell you is I'm going to go forward with it, because someday I want to see my daughters walk down the aisle and get married, and I want to see my son Chris get married. And unselfishly, that's all he cared about was, staying with his family. And he never said, oh, woe is me, and never said, why me. Always just said, I'm going to take this head on.
We met with a neurosurgeon, Dr. Adam Cantor in Pittsburgh, and was scheduled for surgery within the week. That surgery failed due to blood pressure issues. 2 days later, I believe, they attempted the surgery again. That surgery was also failed. We were sent home with little or no hope.
At that point, you almost give up. But, thank God for Dr. Pacone from Newcastle. She figured out a way to get my dad into that third surgery and make it a possibility. And
so the morning in January that we walked into that hospital, it was kind of somber. We all knew that he could be wheeling out of the hospital.
But I got to tell you, the morning that I walked in for the surgery, I was scared, but I just, in my mind, didn't think that I was going to come out of there in a wheelchair. I just didn't believe that. But it happened. There's some things, I tried not to let my, kids, Linda knew how I felt, that I was scared, and but you try to be stronger for your kids and, not show that side to them.
I think you could be told there's a 90% chance, and you think, well, we'll be that 10% that won't be paralyzed.
And it wasn't until he came out and said, he's not moving his feet, and that kind of hit us all. Like, we were so happy that it wasn't cancerous, but it was like unbelievable that he was actually paralyzed. We kind of didn't expect that, even though, like you said, we were so prepped for it. It was just really hard to think that he was never gonna walk again.
I remember visiting Rick right after the surgery and faced with the realization that this was really not a good scenario. And all of us were feeling pretty discouraged, and I'm sure Rick himself was at wit's end. And yet he was the one who asked us to rise up, and he said, guys, I'm alive. I'm alive. And what that means is I can get my girls down the aisle when it's time for them to be married. What it means is I can play with my grandkids, and whether I'm standing up or not, I'm there, and I'm going to show up to that. And I think just asking us all to see the gift when everything else felt like grief, that was pretty huge. Rick and Linda could have a great life behind closed doors, but what Rick and Linda do so well is they open it up to everybody, to their community. So a story about that is the Super Bowl's on, the Steelers are playing, Rick's one of the biggest fans around, and they could have watched the game in their hospital room when Rick was recovering down in Pittsburgh, but instead they threw a party for the floor of all of the spinal cord recovery patients and their nurses and their families.
Any memories that we have of in the hospital were tough ones, but that Super Bowl was extra special in 2008 because we rented a TV and had a full spread, and all of his patients that he got to be good friends with all gathered around, and that was kind of a special moment.
It just was an amazing experience that I think we, number one, wanted to give my dad something to celebrate and something to enjoy. But that wasn't my mom calling and running that TV. That wasn't my dad reaching out to people to come up, or it wasn't my mom reaching out, it was my dad telling people to come there. I think the severity of other people around us there, we wanted to give them a good time and to celebrate. It's the Super Bowl. It's like the biggest day of the year, especially for Yinzers there that day. So.
I think if he were to look back on that right now, he would say to you, I got more joy watching people be able to escape the reality of what they were all facing. It was a spinal cord unit where we were at, and to think that they were going to sit in their room and watch the Steelers play for a Super Bowl when he said, it would be easier to do this as a group and more fun.
I was fortunate enough to go to work for Bob Preston in 1989, and when I went to work for him, he told me, you work hard and within five years I'll put you in your own store. And he did, and we were, I worked for him for 5 years at his Newcastle location, and we were partners for another 13 years. And then, then I got sick, and he basically stepped in and ran my business. Him and my good friend Kevin Leah, and all my managers. I mean, they were all there for me. Don Colucci, Blair Sweet, Colleen Schwartz. They've all worked for me for 20 years, but they were there when I needed them the most.
He was a natural leader, and I know it was hard for him to be away from his business. And I know some of the employees were afraid about what was going to happen when he was faced with this news and had the operation. But he had the strength and courage to hang in there and has guided him through, some pretty difficult times.
I know that my husband was a hardworking, honest, faithful employee to Bob, and I'll forever give my husband that credit. But for a gentleman to recognize the years of service that Bob recognized in our darkest days is something I barely can talk about.
Just learn to do different things. It's not that it doesn't bother. I just don't think about it as much the way I used to. But I can tell you, for the first year, seriously, there was hardly a night that we didn't cry ourselves to sleep. And you get through that dark period. The second year was a little better, and then the third year, even with some health problems, you just start to get your routine down. And believe me, we have a routine that we go through every day, and before we even get out of bed. There's medicine, and there's just, bathing, and everything that goes with it.
My dad's case is a very unique in regards of all the pain that he goes through, and it's not fun to watch him go through it, but because it's not a complete injury, he has pain in areas that maybe someone with paralysis may not have with having that incomplete injury. So it's a tough thing to watch him go through.
I don't think people realize what all goes along with paraplegia. The mental is difficult for sure, But the day-to-day simple things.
What he has to go through to have a normal day is way more than some people are willing to do. So,
but the day-to-day simple things. I can't reach that glass over there. Can you get that for me? Waiting for somebody to get up to go do something else because he doesn't want to be bothersome and say, get me this, get me that. So he sits there and quietly waits until somebody gets up to get something else to then say, I dropped my cell phone, can you pick my phone up for me and hand it to me? I think that would be so tremendously difficult on some people for whatever reason. And we're so thankful he's not that way. He doesn't complain like that. He's patient.
I don't know how he does it. It's got to be difficult, obviously. I'm not in his shoes, but you got to admire him. I mean, he doesn't let any grass grow under his feet. They go. And I was just talking to a friend of mine. I said, he goes, how's Rick doing? I said, I know one thing. He's not at home. He's not staying at home.
My dad does more than I do. I mean, my mom and my dad, and my mom, she gets my dad out of bed and gets him on his way every day. And that just shows you what kind of a special person my mom is. She really does a great job.
We're partners in this. I have the disability, but believe me, she lives it 24/7. With me. We're a partner. When somebody says "till death do us part," you really should mean that when you say it, because you can end up in a situation like this. And she has been, she's a rock. She not only takes care of me, but she's the foundation of the whole family. And I couldn't ask for a better wife.
We would not be able to do anything without her, honestly. Sometimes, a lot of people approach us and say, before they even say, how's your dad, it's like, how's your mom? Because it's sometimes harder on her than it is him, because she is full caretaker of him, and it is tough on her. And we worry about her and her back and, helping him out and stuff. But just mentally, too, she definitely holds us together through the good times and the bad.
My mom is a complete saint and somebody that was literally turned into an RN overnight, I guess you could say. Like I said, the things that she has done for my dad, I think that she's a huge reason that he's still here.
He feels people are more uncomfortable seeing him in a chair than what he is sitting in a chair.
It's hard for people. I have really good friends that, they can't stand to see me in a chair. And we're probably not as good of friends. I know that they're probably thinking about me, and their hearts are probably in the right place. They just can't take it.
If we went to the mall tomorrow and I said, sit here while I go into Macy's for a few hours or 20 minutes or whatever, how long it would be, he would say hello to every single person that passed him in an effort to make them comfortable.
I had somebody come up to me not too long ago, and they're like, put their arm around me and like, oh, Rick, you poor thing. All you can do is just, their heart's in the right place, but I definitely don't want to be sympathy. I don't want the sympathy of anyone.
I will never forget seeing somebody at Walmart not too long ago, probably like 2 years ago, and she was telling us that her husband was in a wheelchair. It was my mom and I, and she said that she couldn't believe that my dad was out and about at somewhere so simple as Walmart, because like he never leaves the house. And it just kind of hit me that we're so lucky that he wants to go to Pirates games and go on vacation and still get on a plane and do all the same things that he used to do. to make it as normal as possible.
My dad has sucked it up many times to make it to events or to a party that was planned or a birthday, even if he wasn't feeling good, and puts a smile on his face. But I just think probably just his zest for life that continues to make him get out of bed every day.
I think we do have a zest for life, and Rick's situation, sitting in a chair, didn't change anything 6 years ago, nor does it today.
My partner, Bob, he won a trip to London and Scotland, and his wife Joanne didn't want to go, so he asked me to go with him. And so my wife, she's never been to London, and that's probably one of her favorite places that she wants to go to. So the big joke is whenever I do kick the bucket, she's taking the girls to London.
Why are you so mean to this man?
We're going to London. We already have it planned. Yeah, we're going. Who told you our secret? Sometimes when we're having a bad day, all we just put is #London. Don't put that in there.
Like if I get under their skin and they're I've aggravated them all, they'll even say hey, London can't come too soon here. So but we that's just the way our family is. We joke about this. I mean, it's believe me, it's we joke about it in a good way. We're not making fun of anybody else or that.
But yeah, we tease, and that's just a part of being super close. We all joke with each other. And
I can tell you for a fact that I get no respect in my family.
I think we all want to know the secret to his patience, to his courage, to his sense of humor, and to his sense of perseverance. I think if we could understand a little bit more about how Rick does that, then we as people and we as a community, I think could do that better. And that's why we're celebrating him tonight, because we learn from him about grace and strength and fortitude and a lot of courage.
Has not lost an ounce of dignity.
I don't know, obviously not being in that position, I don't know, it's hard to say if I could or somebody else could, but it's amazing.
I don't think I'm a much different person. I kind of, people that know me know that I was a good person before this happened. And I'm still a good person. I'm the same Rick that they knew before. So I don't know if it's really changed me. It's kind of changed my outlook to try to do everything I can, while I can, because you just never know what's around that next corner.
It's inspiring. Sometimes I sit there and think, if that was me, would I just stay in my house and not go anywhere because it's just easier to do that? Make people do everything for me and not leave the home. I don't know if I could do that.
Well, what I've really learned is worry about the big things in life. Don't sweat the little things.
I really feel blessed to have Rick in my life, and has really been an inspiration. Not many people go through what he's been through and has been able to keep the positive attitude that he has. And I just want to congratulate him and thank Linda for guiding us all through all of this.
There's been a few times that have been really dark for us, and a couple of the other complications that have come along with this. And the fact that my dad can bounce back and keep such a positive attitude, it's really a blessing.
Rick Flynn is
a great dad. Yeah, but first and foremost, he's a great husband and a great dad.
The love of my life. The love of my life.
I have a beautiful family, beautiful wife. We have a business, and believe it or not, even in the position that I'm in, my overall health is really good right now. So we have a lot to be thankful for. I'm a lucky man.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us in congratulating Mr. Rick Flynn and his family on being our 2014 Salute to Courage honoree.